Just a quick little voiceover at the beginning of this video. Do not copy what you see in this video, and I mean that. Coils in cars can kill very, very, very easily. Take this purely for entertainment and do not copy one thing you see in this video here. I'm just doing this the way that I see fit to do it. It doesn't mean it's the correct way to do it, and it's certainly not going to be the safest way to do it. So just say it one more time before the video starts. Do not copy what you see in this video.
Hello again, back again. I think this is part 41. I've lost count now, there's that many. I'll tell you what I'm going to look at today. The spring. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to do anything with it, but basically the bottom cup here, this has been on my mind for ages. The bottom cup here is completely rusted, yeah? So go over a few speed bumps and that's just going to completely fall off. Now, I have bought the spring cup and also these brackets as well, and the things that go inside that little spring cup. I think they were a couple of £100 all in all, actually probably more than that. But I was going to get a professional welder to do it. The problem is, this car being as long as it is, it doesn't fit on a normal, I don't know if they're called low loaders, but you know, the things the lorries that you put the car on the back of to get to different places. So it doesn't fit on one of them. So I've got to now look into getting an extra long one. So I have got somebody to weld this. It's just that it's about 10 miles from here, and it means getting the car to them, which is going to be a bit of a pain, especially when the majority of loaders do not take this length of car. So I'm just thinking, should I try to do it myself? It's not so much the welding that I'm worried about, it's more taking the spring out, because you see this spring, even though the car is jacked up now, this spring is under tension. The thing is though, I don't know how much tension it's going to be under, but I have borrowed some compressor tools from my brother. So basically with these here, you put them on and then you turn this one up here, and what it does is it starts bringing them together. You can see it's moving them together, and what that will do is it will compress the spring down, which should allow you to take it out. It's just that I don't know. Sorry, I thought there was an accident. It's just that I don't know whether or not it's going to compress enough. I mean, I shouldn't have to compress it much, because look, the end of the spring ends here, so I've only got to compress it about, you know, a couple of inches to get it out. But I don't know whether there's going to be enough room to wiggle it out realistically. If I'm bringing it out this way, I'm going to have to probably compress it by about this much. So I'm not really sure how easy or hard it's going to be, and that's the dangerous part. If these slip off it, or if that fails on me, this can easily kill you, because there's enough pressure in there. I mean, a grandfather clock spring can kill you. That there, holding up a Rolls Royce, can really do you some serious damage. So I know I have filmed near enough all the parts on this car, but I don't know if I'm going to do much filming here, because I really need to concentrate on what I'm doing, and I don't want to have to think about filming. Also, I don't really want anybody to attempt to copy me, because the proper way to do this is to get the Rolls Royce tool and you put it up through the middle, and then it winds down, because there's a little cup at the top here with a screw thread, and there's a cup at the bottom. The problem is, I would happily buy the tool, but I can't, because the bottom hole is completely rusted through. I mean, I can pick away at it with my hands here. Yeah, there's nothing for it to grip into, because it's not there anymore. In fact, look, I'm bending it down. Hold on, I can probably take it out. Look, here it comes. There you go. That is the bottom of it there. That's how rusted it is. So the proper Rolls Royce tool will not work here, so I haven't got an option to use the proper one. The idea is you put the tool up through here, you wind the spring down, and then you lift out the spring along with the tool through this, through this bit here, and the tool will come through the hole at the bottom. But that's not an option for me, because the tool's got nothing to grip onto, because it's completely rusted through. So yeah, I'm going to mess with that. Now, I've got numerous jacks and stuff holding it up. So I've got the Rolls Royce jack, I've got a 20-ton bottle jack, I've got that trolley jack there, and I've got axle stands with hard wood underneath it there. So yeah, I fully feel confident going under this, but again, don't copy what you see in these videos. So I think I'll just film it every now and then, just to see how it goes. If I can't get the spring out, I'm not going to waste my time on it, but if I can get the spring out, I might then see if I can weld the new cup in, because then you see I'd be able to drive this myself to a local MOT station, because I've got one just a few hundred meters away. Well, no, that's a lie, probably about 700 or 800 meters away. And then it would be a lot better for me just to drive it there, let's say 4 in the morning when there's no cars on the road, park it outside ready for when they open up, and then you see I wouldn't have to get involved with low loaders and for it to travel miles. That's what I'm thinking anyway. Right, to say I'm not popping my pants would be a massive lie. I don't think I've been this scared in a long time. I've got my glasses on, just in case it does spring out at me. My head will be torn off, but at least my eyes will still look good. Now, what I'm going to do to begin with is, I haven't got this tethered to anything just yet. I'm just going to do it a little bit, just to see, you know, if I can just compress it a centimetre or something. I want to see how easy or hard it's going to be. Also, I don't know how I'm going to... I've just clamped them. You can't even see. This is the thing. I'm not going to... I've put them on either side, and then basically you can turn this by hand until they become loose. And I've got 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 kind of convolutions of this in between. So it's on like the 1, 2. So it's on the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So it's on the 3rd and 7th. I think I'm going to have to actually use a spanner. Right, so I'm going to do them bit by bit. Just take the tension back on this one. Alright, so I can see that's starting to move. Annoyingly, this seems to be just sliding down the actual spring. Let's see, I wonder what stops that from just keep on sliding, because obviously it's a spiral going down, isn't it? The other option I thought of is, if I was to undo the bolt on the bottom of this, yeah, I wonder would there be a bit more play then to allow this whole trailing arm to drop a little bit. The problem is we have got like sort of like cross support things going across there that look like they're already very close to the bottom of where we are now. So I think it would end up fouling out. I think you'd have to take off the support that goes from this differential at the back all the way up there as well. My brother did say that these were expensive when he bought them ages ago. It's a good make. I can't remember what make he said. He said they're a good one. You know, I'm not happy with this one because I want them to be opposite each other. Otherwise, you know, I'm going to move this one round. I'm going to slacken this one off. Problem is, because of the bracket at the bottom, I actually can't get them directly opposite. I suppose I could move this one round more. Let's slacken this one off as well.
Right, while we're slacking this one off and repositioning it, let's give a shout out to the My Mate Vince Massive. The members this month are KipDigital.com, Kip Hakes, Max Rokotansky, Having Fun Repairs, Chris Seal, Felipe at MrKeebs.com, DJ VG, Pixie, Robert from Timsy's Auto Air, Daniel Watson, Zeke C, Anthony Dean, Bazza2, Russ Melanson, Ellis Garbett, Gaspar Heller, Richard Bergland, Jacob Culpin, Matt Rawlins and Soul Reaver 555. Thank you so much.
I mean, if I could do this, I can't describe how happy I would be. It's been on my mind now for however many months that I noticed it. 6 months or something like that. This has been on my mind. Not daily, but you know, it's just been there niggling away. Well, they're definitely both gripped on there. I'm still not happy with this one at the back here. It seems to kind of want to just move along rather than... And turn also, it seems very hard to turn, while this one seems nice and easy. They are a little bit rusted, but they were turning very freely by hand. Surface rust, not, you know, not weak rust, not rust to make it weak. Right, I don't think I'm going to be able to compress it enough to take it out, because I think I need these to be longer, much longer. Right, I'm going to get a rope now, and I'm going to tie it between here and here. So then, for example, as I compress it more, if the spring snaps or something like, well, if the spring snaps, the other half's going to come flying at me or flying somewhere. But if I just tie it between here and here, if something else snaps, then there's a chance that the rope will hold it and keep it in this area rather than it flying up here. Right, so I'll did the rope between maybe, I don't know, the third one down and second one up from the bottom, tied it around here, and then did the next loop around the top here to about halfway down. So if the spring was to snap, then you know it's kind of contained at the top and the bottom, and it's just wrapped around this thing here. So hopefully there's not going to be that much slack. There's only going to be like an inch on that rope before it holds, and I'm hoping the rope's strong enough. Hope we don't have to find out.
Now I know I'm being a nervous nerist, but with good reason. There's a serious amount of energy stored in this coil, and what am I doing? I'm compressing it even more, which does what? Puts even more energy into it. I'm 1.5 foot away from it. If the tools fail or the coil snaps, it will be game over. If the coil comes towards me, I'm not going to have any reaction time to block it, and even if I do block it, do you think the coil's going to care? No, I will be sent way back into the alleyway and into the next door house. There will be a huge amount of tension in this coil here, easily enough to kill me. Do not copy, and I'll say that again, do not copy what you see in any of my videos, but especially this one here. The tools I'm using are old. The techniques I'm using, I haven't done this before. They're probably all wrong, so don't copy what you see in this video. It can be fatal, and unfortunately many people have lost their lives changing coils on cars, vans and lorries because of the amount of tension in there, and sometimes tools can fail. So one more time, do not copy what you see in this video.
Yeah, see, the problem I've got is I'm only actually compressing half the spring. The other half is open. Do you know what I'm going to do? Because this is my life I'm talking about. I'm going to pop down the road and see if they've got any in the car factory, see if they've got any spring compressors. Because then I can put another 2 on that side, you see. Or at least 1. Anything's going to help. Because then I think I'd feel quite safe. I'm not feeling very safe from now on because these are getting incredibly hard to turn. Well, unfortunately I can't do that because the shop's all shut up. I checked Halford's, but I think the nearest one that's in stock is Hemel Hempstead, but I don't know how reliable that Halford's checker is, because before they said they had something in stock, and then I had to wait a week and it still didn't arrive. I just got refunded. Well, I can still compress a little bit more, so let me go a bit more, but I just don't think I'm going to be able to compress enough to be able to get this. I think it will come loose from here, but I don't think there'll be enough manoeuvre room. Unless of course if I can get the back out, the bottom out, then it will kick out that way. I'll keep going for a bit. I mean, it hasn't made any weird noises yet. It's just getting very hard to turn. Very hard to turn. But I am using a tiny spanner. If I could get the bottom bit out, then it would come out. It's just very hard to get to. Look at that, that's really starting to get loose now. Right, so that's one kind of shim type thing. The springs are flat. The last one there is actually flat. Okay. Just wanna. There we go. Need a little bit more. Here we go. Right, now, just clean up my glasses because they're all fogged up. So, can we take this out here? This is going to be getting reused here. That's going to be getting reused. That's the spring. We've got a spacer thing here. The top is nice and solid. These are the threaded things I'm talking about, here and here. Right, that's good. So now we should be able to, is that gonna, just stuck on that bit there. Oh, there's more. Oh yeah, and that big thing as well. There we go, we're out. Excellent, we are out, fantastic. Now, I've got to carefully undo my knot, carefully, and lower it down to the ground. And I'm going to put this in the shed and close the door, so nobody's going to go near it. So if it goes off, it's not going to hurt any pets, wild birds, pigeons, dogs that like to visit the garden, or anything like that. Once this is in the shed, I'll feel safe. Slight problem in that I've compressed it down, haven't I, onto the rope, so I'm going to have to cut the rope. It's annoying. Right, let me cut that. Hallelujah! I've got a spring out of it now. Let me just tie a little knot in that just in case, and I'll just put one more through here. So you can see now, if I had another one down here, how much it would have been easier to compress the spring, because I've only really compressed the middle bit. That's why it was so hard. Right, I am going to put this in the shed, well out of harm's way, and I'm going to carry it sideways like this, so if it goes off, it's not going to go into my belly. Well, I've got one thing to say there, and that's hallelujah. Right now, let's get the camera off and have a look, see how bad this bottom thing is. Oh, I'm so happy that that's off, really am. Right, so that's the thing there that I've got to remove, that cup there. You can see it's completely rusted through. Obviously not this top bit, hold on. This should come out, but it's not going to, is it? It's going to be welded. Oh, there we go. So that's the bottom cup, and that's the reason why the Rolls Royce tool wouldn't work, because it's got nothing to grip onto, because this part here has completely rusted out, but it doesn't matter because I've got a replacement one of them. So that's it there, that's what I need to change out there. Excellent, right, okay. You're not really going to be able to see any of this, so I'm going to get the angle grinder out, and I'm going to have to whack all that out, cut it all out of the way and stuff, grind it all back, make it nice and neat, and let me show you the replacement cup for it. So this is it here, and that's for the handbrake, so that gets welded on, and then the spring goes into here. This goes into here first, and this then goes next, and then you put the spring on that, and you've got to put a load of grease and everything. And these things have got to work out what's going on. I presume that they weld onto the bracket. I don't know, I'll have to work out exactly where these go, but they must weld onto there and the trailing arm. There's two of them. Oh, they're different sizes as well, so I have to work out what's what. Anyway, well, I suppose that's going to be one bit of the trailing arm because it's going to be big, and this is going to be the smaller bit of the trailing arm, this bit here. Anyway, I don't have to worry about that just yet because we've got to get the old one off first. Well, actually it's not too bad. You can see one of the brackets here, and then the other bracket is here. So basically I have to angle grind away all this here, all the way down. Obviously get rid of the cup as well, and angle grind this all the way down. And it looks like the cup is welded to the trailing arm here as well. So there's going to be a lot of welds. The brackets can be welded all the way around, a couple of tacks to begin with, and it can be welded this side, top and bottom, and then this cup can be welded onto here, and the cup can be welded onto the brackets here as well, and obviously underneath the cup on the trailing arm. So there's going to be a lot of welds going on. So I think it's yeah, I think this is a good opportunity to do lots of welding on here. Every single contact will be welded, but it's going to be quite time consuming trying to remove this old stuff from the trailing arm and cleaning all that up. So I'm just going to get a move on with that now, and I'll update on progress bit by bit. Now before I grind anything off, I've got to undo this parking brake cable, and basically what you have to do, you have to use the mole grips on that side there, and then a spanner here, and then you undo it, and it will allow you to unclip this. The tension's off here, you can see, well you probably can't see, but look, can you see that? That moves along there now. So the tension's all off it because the parking brake's not on, and that way then I'll be able to push it this way to take it out of that little thing there. And yeah, then we can angle grind it. Right, so it's undone now, but I want to get it completely away because it's going to be in my way. So I'm just cleaning up this area here, and there's a little split pin. So I'm just going to get some pliers, and then I can undo the split pin, which is just here. Yeah, I can squeeze it together, pop it out here, pop the split pin out, and then it will allow me to take out this whole cable, handbrake cable or parking brake cable, and then I can tuck it well out of the way, and then if my angle grinder slips, I'm not going to slice the rubber boot or anything like that. Okay, angle grinding time. I'm going to use the power one, the corded one, because the cordless one that I fixed up, the Robert from Timsey's Auto Air one, I need a battery, and the battery's being used for my torch, aka flashlight. So I'm going to put a cutting disc onto here, one of the thin ones there, and I'm going to start cutting away all the old one here. I've got to be really careful on the brake lines here, like really careful on the brake lines. So what I'll probably do is just cut to here to begin with and leave this on, and then bit by bit try to just do this bit by bit. I've got to be careful as well with noise because, well, not just for me, but also it's not fair on the neighbours as well. So I'm going to try to minimise the amount of cuts that I have to do. And other things to consider are petrol tank. Obviously the petrol tank is at the back of the boot up here, but I'm not going to be welding onto the petrol tank, I'm welding here. So I feel safe that there's no danger of any sparks or anything setting anything alight. Cable tied away the parking brake cable there, so I think we're ready to go. So I'm going to be doing this bit off camera because I need to protect the lens off my camera. I don't want to have it right down underneath. Also, you're not really going to see much. It'd be different if I was kind of welding here and grinding here, but you're going to see very little anyway. So I'll just update you on progress as I go along. Right, so I've taken the main cup off, and now I'm trying to grind away these, or cut away I should say, these little support brackets. I haven't even attempted this side yet. It's extremely hard because of that lack of room. Remember, I haven't got a pit here. I'm lying on my back. The angle grinder's kind of already taken up the room from here to here. I've got to be careful, I didn't mention earlier, this is the fuel pump up here, so I don't want to direct too much. Obviously it's sealed, but I don't want to direct too much sparks or anything up here because this is going to have fuel in it here. So yeah, it's definitely not an easy job, but I am making progress on it, which is good. Dearie me, look at the state of me. I think, look at that, look at the colour difference where I've been wearing my gloves and my bare arms. I think welders, I think mechanics earn their money, to be fair. Let's see now. Alright, I'm getting there now. I've done the cutting, I now need to do the grinding. So yeah, I've got most of it cut away there. So now I need to grind it all down. The floor is a complete mess. But yeah, I am happy with progress so far. What I also thought was interesting was, when this is at its full travel down now, which it is, you can actually look, I'm lifting this up with my knee. I thought it would be under more pressure, because I noticed when I was like wiggling rusty bits of metal off, the arm was moving up and down. Yeah, I thought it'd be under more pressure than that. Oh, that is a nightmare to do because it's just my neck. My neck's killing me. I've got no support because I'm just like that, balancing the whole time. I think my head's too big for my body. Anyway, I am getting there. I've done, I would say, just under 1/2. Oh. So it is, I've done all down there, underneath, and half of this bit here. I've still got to do this bit, all this bit here, and I've got to do the top bits. Top bits I might have to do with a Dremel tool because they're just way too close. Well, what I'll do is I'll undo these bolts here, if I can. I'll undo this one here and this one here, but these pipes are going to be rigid, aren't they? But it might give me a little bit of room, and then I think I have to do these with a Dremel tool, but I've got to be really careful when I solder them up again, because you know we have the hydraulic pipes just here, not solder, sorry, weld them up again. So yeah, anyway, this next bracket's going to be really hard to grind off because of the angles off it, but maybe if I position myself the other side of the car I might be able to get to it easier. But it's not a pleasurable job, and it's really on my mind about the noise. It's the ultimate antisocial noise in my opinion. Anyway, you know, I've got to do it, so I'll get on with it. Maybe another 45 minutes might have it done. Okay, thank God the angle grinding's done. Do you know what, I can honestly say I hate angle grinding, and it's mostly because of the noise, and also you're getting battered with sparks. But yeah, you can see that is completely flat. Yeah, and this here. Yeah, so you can see it all up here. Can you see? No, you can't see. There we go. There, and also underneath as well. There and here. Oh, that's such a relief, and luckily this metal here looks perfecto. There doesn't look to be anything wrong with that whatsoever. So that's great news. So hopefully I should be able to get a good weld onto that, because it's nice new metal onto clean old metal which isn't rusty, so that's good. So now what I have to do is I undone these two nuts here and here, but it hasn't really given me much wiggle room at all. It's given me a little bit of wiggle room, but very little, because obviously these are not flexible pipes, they're rigid pipes. But I now need to work on this bit here and this bit here. I ground away as much as I felt safe doing, but one slip, if I hit this I'm in trouble, you know, these hydraulic lines. So what I'm going to now do is the Having Fun Repairs Dremel tool. I'm going to use that and see if it will work on there. So yeah, that should be good. This was bought for me by Sean from Having Fun Repairs just before he moved back to America. Right, you know what? I think I need to buy some more grinding tools. I think that's the last one. That's the last one I've got, I think. Oh, that's a shame, because I've been using them on the car, and the car eats them up quite a lot. Okay. Yeah, right, I'll have to get some of them. It's getting late in the day now anyway, so I'm not really sure. Should I try one of them just to see? What's that? That looks like a sanding one. I might try to see if that cuts through it, you never know. Right, I managed to smooth off the back one just there, but there you go. But you know what, to do this one here I'm going to end up using like 5 or 6 of those little sanding ones there. It's not made for it. They do work to begin with, but then as they get smaller they just seem to go to dust then. I'm going to see if I can get some maybe proper Dremel ones from Screwfix or B&Q, something like that, and then I can actually use the grinding one on there, so that's good. What I also need to do is, there was always a kink on the brake, the parking brake cable, a massive kink. So what I'm going to do is, I've straightened it up there, I'm actually going to weld a collar on, make a little bit of metal into a cylinder, put it round there, and then kind of, you know, plier it into shape, and then I'm just going to put a couple of tack welds just on either edge there, just to keep it nice and straight. Yeah, because it was kinking, because it's snapped here, because it's rusted through here, it's snapped, but it still actually moves. So if I was to grab this end here, like if I grab this end, it still does, you know, it's the cable's still moving on the inside there, so it's all look at the state of that, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah, so I think that's going to be good. There we go, that's what I mean. So I can hook that on there now, put a couple of welds around the place, and then hopefully I can start to get the pliers and bend it round on itself. And again, when it goes round itself, I'm hoping to be able to weld from this to the new edge. Right, so that's the first little bit done now. So I've just bent it round, put some little welds on it there. So now hopefully it'll be strong enough for me to bend that round on itself and then do a nice weld onto itself, you know. Right, so I've just got my dad in the car because I want to make sure that I haven't welded through to the cable on the inside. All right, Dad, if you put it on, and now take it off. Right, if we have a look here, so watch this thing there, yeah? And put it on again, Dad. And off. And on again. And off. Yeah, now I don't know how much it moved before, but it's certainly moving, so I think it's going to be okay. Okay, that's it all welded up there now. So I need to double check it's working again. And then I need to get some amalgamating tape around it. What I'll probably do is I'll probably spray it first of all. But you can see I've welded it all underneath. And it managed to be quite round. So I used the vice grips, the mole grips, just round and round and round. Kept bending the metal round. So I'm hoping now it's not going to flex. I mean, it might break here, or any other place, but I'm hoping it's not going to flex there. Obviously, if it keeps breaking in other places, then I'll need to replace it, because it means it's gone. But maybe that part just had a bit of damage, and the outer sheathing might have been a bit damaged, and it might have just gone from there. So yeah, do you know what? Maybe you just replace it from the ascend bit, because I can see a nut here. So maybe it's from this part to the wheel rather than having to go all the way back. If so, that would be a very easy fix. I might look into that. If you can change it from here, I might just replace it. But yeah, anyway, that's done now. I'm going to spray it up with some Hammerite. Okay, I've sprayed that up with some Hammerite, so now when I get some black amalgamating tape, I'll wrap it round. That's like rubber tape, and then it kind of forms into one. Right, so I've got my dad in the car now. Watch this. When he puts it on, this is going to go backwards. Okay, Dad, put it on. Perfect. Thank you, Dad. There we go, so that's now it's not going to spring back, because you see it's not attached to this. It needs to be attached to this arm here in order to spring back. Yeah, because the spring's on here. It does. I can pull it out again with my hand when it's released. Well, I've just been trying to put it on just to see if it fits, and annoyingly these brackets are well out. So you can see that this one's smaller because the arm here is smaller than it is here. Yeah, but the arm doesn't get this much bigger. You know, like I can only be as wide as here. This one here is about, I would say, 1.5 centimeters too big. I don't know what's going on. I know obviously every car might be slightly different, but I can't believe they're going to be that much out. Unless this whole thing was designed, I'm wondering now, was the whole thing designed so you just kind of knock out the old one but not grind it all the way back? And then you see you can leave the old brackets on the car, and maybe this was designed to fit over those welds. Not over, beside the welds. I don't know. In which case then it kind of would fit more. But yeah. So to get this one to fit where the old bracket was, I've just had to take not much, just a couple of mil. So this one's okay, but this one is so far out. That's what I'm thinking now. I'm thinking it's been designed because realistically I don't know if many people are going to go to the bother of what I've done, which is forget about this bit here. I haven't removed this yet, but the other welds I've completely removed. So yeah, I suppose because it's a repair piece, it's designed to go either side of it, and then this on the bottom. Also, the other annoying thing is, but I think it's the same on the other side, like this is from Rolls Royce, you just weld this top bit. It would be nicer if this whole flat bit was against, well, I suppose it can't because it hangs lower. Yeah, this hangs lower than the trailing arm. Yeah, but still, if this was flat, you'd be able to weld underneath as well. But I can't. The whole thing's going to be relying on my weld up the top. Well, it's not. It's the brackets that's taking pretty much everything. So basically, the brackets get welded on, but at least I can do them both sides, that side and that side. And then these get welded onto here. So basically, the thing that's kind of taken near enough all the weight is how good the weld's going to be between here, this little right angle here, and also this against the trailing arm. And yeah, so there's not really much, you know. Yeah, it's asking a lot, isn't it, on the welds here. Thing is though, if I get the welding done myself, and then if I'm not happy with it, in other words, you know, if I don't think the penetration's deep enough, then as long as it's good enough to get to, for example, the MOT station, then they could re-weld it, couldn't they? I'm sure they could go over my welds, because the penetration should go straight through my welds then, shouldn't it? And go onto it. Or they could just grind off this weld here and do it, and then grind off the other weld, do it, and hopefully, you know, the one at the back and stuff will be strong enough with the spring in place, I'm wondering. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to put the welder up really high, and I'm sure it will be good. It's just that it would be kind of nicer if there was more to weld to, because then it wouldn't be so important that this weld here has to be absolutely perfect. If, for example, you had a bigger amount to weld to, if this was flat against it, I could weld top, I could weld bottom, I could weld here, I could weld here, and then I could do the brackets as well. But right now all I'm doing is that, and the corner of each of the brackets, which isn't very much. But still, you know, the weld is supposed to be as strong or stronger than the metal. So yeah, once it's welded, it is supposed to be the same as one piece of metal. And if that was one piece of metal, then you know it would be good enough. Not quite as happy now. And this is the other side. This is a Rolls Royce side. So you can see a bracket there, and it is away from the trailing arm at the bottom here. Bracket there, so it is just held on with those bits that I mentioned. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a couple of little tacks in place just to see if I can get it lined up, and then I think I'll be happier with what's going on. Right, I am calling it a day for today. I managed to get a weld all the way around this one here, but I want to go over it again. I kind of did the weld really close into it to try to get sort of the initial penetration, but now I want to go over it again to make the beads slightly wider. So at the top there it's slightly wider, but going down the side here it's all very thin. But this was on its top strength. That's not saying much, but it was on its top strength, and I did see like it melting right the way in. And when I went to do the other side, it looked like, I don't know, I definitely seen penetration through the metal, so it's definitely got heat into it anyway. It's incredibly splatty, because I think that's the problem with these gas welders. So I don't think, sorry, not gas welders, you know, the gasless welder, where the gas is built into the actual wire itself. I mean, it splats everywhere, which is quite uncomfortable when you're on your back wedged in there. This bracket was the easiest one to do, it's the easiest one to get to. And in my opinion, it was incredibly hard. Even trying to get that helmet in under there, I had my head to the side and I couldn't move it. I just felt like I had a crick neck by the end of it. So yeah, very, very hard. But look, I'm going to persevere. I'm going to get the, you know, the bottom bit on and the other bracket on. And then hopefully if I can get myself another spring compressor as well, I'll be able to safely get the spring back in there. Now, if it's no good, at least then I can buy the Rolls Royce tool, which will mean, because you know the spring is going to be intact, and I can put the proper bottom on, and the top part is already okay, so I can get the proper Rolls Royce tool, which will be safer to use. And then it's unlikely to be weaker than the rotten, rusty ones that was already there. So then you see, I can just put it on the loader and get it taken up to the professional, and all I have to do is buy 2 new brackets and the bottom bit there. Yes, I've wasted probably £150 of my time, but if I'm not happy with the welding, then it's not a problem, because this is so critical here. At least now the car will be safer. Even if I do drive it locally for an MOT, I would feel much happier with the welding that I'm doing, I think, than the rusty lump of metal that was already there before, because a couple of speed bumps and that might have just come straight out. While realistically with this, I'm hoping that the weld will hold enough to go 800 meters down the road to get an MOT anyway, to see what's going to be wrong with this car. So yeah, there we have it. So I'm going to come back to this tomorrow, do some more welding and hopefully get this in place. Right, so what you witnessed there was a full day's work, and looking at the time of the video, I'm going to call it a day on part 42, but I will be back again tomorrow, and that will be part 43. I'm glad I've tackled this job, because I've been putting it off for ages, and sometimes it's better just to do something rather than putting it off forever. So I hope you enjoyed this part. You'll find out in part 43 next week whether or not the welding was successful, and whether or not I can get this spring in, or will it all end in tears and rain. Until then, take care everyone.
There is a life I lead in this city, hurrying to cut my teeth. I can take what I need to get by, it doesn't make it easy. The other piece of my heart moves slow, somewhere in the great unknown. When I return from the afterglow, will you carry me like I am whole again? Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all, I had a feeling, but the feeling is all gone. Wait, hold on, put me together, take me back where I belong. I want it all, I had a feeling, but the feeling is all gone.